Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about how my gaming ways have changed since becoming a parent. As most of you know, my husband and I had our son almost 2 years ago. He's turning 2 in a few months, which is crazy. I can't even believe it. But what does that mean for my hobby? What does that mean to be a parent and to be a gamer? That's what I want to discuss today, because some things have changed, some things haven't. One thing I want to point out is something that I've noticed over the years and how just generations change is that when I was a kid, my parents didn't play video games, and that's because they're baby boomers. They didn't grow up with video games. This is not their thing at all. You grow up basically thinking like, this is not something that parents do. Parents don't play video games. Truth is, parents do all sorts of things. You do not change when you become a parent. I knew that, but I just want to reiterate it that you do not change when you become a parent. If you like to sew, you're still going to like to sew when you become a mom or a dad. The types of movies you like aren't going to change. You might gain new interests, but you like what you like. I love all sorts of things, but obviously, as you guys know, I love video games. So yes, I am someone's mom and also have this in my house. The hobby of video games and the passion I have for video games, pop culture, media, movies, TV, that's me. That's Paige. That's Femtrooper. That's never going to change. That's who I am as a person, and I want to make that very clear because I think some people lose a sense of self when they become a parent, and I wanted to share that because it is important, because it can be hard becoming a new parent. For anybody out there who has a baby or a toddler or just a child of any age, sometimes you get caught up in the moment and you forget, like, hey, I have interests too. And you know what? I've made it very clear, like, I have interests. I'm still me, and this is my passion. In terms of how my gaming ways have changed since becoming a parent, well, they have. I can't just sit and binge video games all day on a Saturday. I can't just wake up and be like, hey, I'm going to play Yakuza for 10 hours. No. When I was pregnant, I took about a month off before my son was due. And I remember not being able to walk. I was like extremely huge. Like, I'm talking like torpedo. I looked like I had triplets. So I was very uncomfortable. And all I wanted to do was just get up and move. And I was actually so cranky that I was only able to sit and play video games and watch TV. And I look at it and I think, oh my God, man, like, enjoy this. Enjoy sitting and playing video games all day. That's totally fine. Obviously, I'm an adult. I'm not, 13 coming home from school and binging Final Fantasy X. However, you can still play video games as a parent, and there's many ways to make that work, and everybody does it differently. For me, when I had my son, anything that was like to do with me was just gone the second he was born. Because, let's face it, when you have a newborn, I don't care what passion you have, you kind of have to just put it aside for a sec because you are not doing too much. For some people, that takes a few months. For some people, that could be, several months. It depends on what that is. I know some people are saying, hey, I played video games the day my son was born or the day my daughter was born. It's like, okay, that's fair. That could be you too. For me, it took about a couple months for me to kind of get a sense of routine and just get out of that, like, waking up at 3 a.m. dread, because I'm not playing video games when you're not living on a normal schedule. Like, there is no concept of time, and it's all messed up, and we're fortunate that our son slept through the night at a very young age, and so I was able to kind of get back into the things I like doing. I've mentioned it before, but Dragon Quest XI was the first game that I started playing. After having my son, I kind of felt like, hey, I can play video games again, and that was this for me. And then once I was able to beat it, I thought, okay, well, if I can play this game, which took me 93 hours, then I can totally play video games again. I will note that this little guy right here, oh my gosh, is a parent's dream. Anything handheld, personally for me, is how I play video games for the most part at this point. Handheld is the way to go, because you find when I first started getting back into video games, I was playing a lot of video games in bed. I was playing a little, video games on the couch. I was playing video games wherever I could kind of go. And so handheld is just the way to go, because sometimes I just didn't want to turn the TV on or have it on, or my son was napping or whatever, and I could kind of like sneak in some Switch or whatever. It was just so much easier to just play handheld. So much easier. So whether that's the Vita, that's, an old DS, that is the Switch, whatever it is, awesome. Handheld has been my go-to way more than it used to be. So yeah, I'm back into playing video games. My son is sleeping through the night. I'm getting my sleep again. I'm like feeling normal again. And so I'm playing video games again and starting to get back into a routine. However, like I said, waking up on a Sunday at, 10 in the morning and just saying I'm going to play a video game all day. Well, that's kind of not happening now. But that's okay. I've made peace with that because there's so many other things to do. That can be challenging to some, I know. It is frustrating, and I do want to put it out there that yes, there are things you did in like your early 20s or when you were 15 that just are not happening now. And I'm sure that some of that stuff will come back, but I just, those are things, if I want to I can't watch Golden Girls for 8 hours straight. Everybody does things differently. I also want to make that extremely clear. If, some people are playing video games all day in front of their kids, some people are watching TV all day in front of their kids, or watching whatever. Like, everybody does things differently. This is just my personal experience. So I really didn't play video games in front of my son. That's my time on my own. If he is around me, if he is in my care, the priority is him, and so we're doing stuff he wants to do. I'm not just sitting playing video games in front of him. One thing I never expected to happen was a global pandemic. Having a toddler during a global pandemic is interesting, to say the least. Actually really frustrating, to be honest. But oddly enough, with COVID and not being able to do tons, came a lot of video games. If anyone's been following me on Twitter the last few years, I've actually been playing more games than I ever have, which makes no sense because I had way more time before to play video games, like I said, to just like play a game all night or play a game all Saturday and not really care. I mean, yes, obviously I have a full-time job, but I also was playing video games whenever I wanted because I didn't have a child to take care of. You can't do a ton with toddlers to begin with, and with a global pandemic going on, you can't do a lot, let's be honest. So many things are closed, so many things are just like, even if they're open, it's kind of icky and you don't want to do it, so it's kind of frustrating, and yes, I've been very frustrated about it because there's so many things I want to do with my son that I can't do, and it's been a little bit annoying, to be honest. However, with not being able to do much and having a toddler at home, for example, he goes to bed really early. So when he goes to bed, I can't just leave the house and go out. So I can play video games at home. So I have played way more video games than I ever have. My husband and I are huge moviegoers. We used to see about 8 movies a month in theaters, like twice a week. We'd go like Cheap Tuesday, and then we'd go on like a Friday or Saturday night, and like every week we'd see like 2 movies. And even if we didn't see a movie in theaters, we would be watching something at home. So we are movie obsessed. However, with movie theaters shutting down, can't just go out all the time, and with COVID, can't go out anyway. That basically means watching movies at home, which my husband and I have gotten back into, which is great. It feels so nice to, get our passion back for movies going. So that's been fabulous. But also it means I can play way more video games. At nighttime, I can just sit and play a video game all night because it's not like, oh, well, I was supposed to go to a friend's house, or, oh, there's a party on Saturday. It's like, there's no parties, there's no friends' houses, there's no anything right now. So COVID plus kid equals lots of video games? So weird, I know. But I've been playing so many video games, and to be honest, with not tons to do, beating games has been a huge sense of accomplishment for me. So whenever I beat a video game, I post it on Instagram, I post it on Twitter. I'm so excited to share the end credit sequence. If you guys follow me, you know that I always post end credit sequences to be like, I beat it, I swear. Yeah, it's a sense of accomplishment. I really just enjoy seeing those end credits. It's kind of like reading a book, and you get that satisfaction of getting to the end, and you put all this effort in, or all this time, all this work into beating a game, and there you go, it's done. What I'm really trying to say here is, yes, I've changed in the sense that I don't play video games sort of whenever I wanted, like before. However, I play video games a lot more now as a parent, which is sort of weird and not something I expected. But I also didn't expect there to be a world global pandemic, so there's that. So many factors go into changing the way you play games as a parent. you may put the passion down entirely for like a year because it's just hard. You may use it as a coping mechanism. I think to some extent I did, because it can be hard as a new parent and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And so playing video games was a source of comfort for me personally, as well as TV and movies. So watching an old 80s show is comforting to me, as well as playing a video game. I also just freaking love video games, so I'm not giving it up. That's who I am. I love video games so much, and I love to come on here and talk about it and talk with you guys on Twitter about it, because it's just such a fun medium. It's a fun hobby. It's just a really cool thing. Video games are cool. Nothing changes. You become a parent, and I'm Dragon Quest mom now, so I will take that. I will be Dragon Quest mom. Games that are exclusive to the Switch are definitely more up my alley at the moment. I do have the time to play games on the TV, but usually when our son goes to bed, me and my husband will watch a show or a movie, and then when he goes to bed, I usually stay up a little later and I'll play games in bed. So PS4 only games are not as desirable. However, I still play lots of PS4 games because I do make the effort. That's the thing here, and I want to make that clear too. If you have a hobby and you have a kid and you don't have the same kind of time you had before, you have to make the time now. I make the time because I really like video games. If I really want to watch a show or a movie, I make the time. Even if it means, it's not scheduling, but you schedule, we're watching that specific movie on, say, Saturday night, you make it work because things are different now. You're on a different schedule, and that's cool. It's awesome. I'm stoked about it beyond belief. But I also still have things that I do on my own time, like video games, playing the Switch, making these videos, for instance. These videos are something that I was doing before that were no big deal. I would just come and film a video, whatever. But now it's something I kind of schedule into my time. I'm going to film a video on such and such day, and I'll edit it on such and such day, and then I will post it on whatever, and then that's, basically, if I'm filming a video, I'm not playing video games, and that's okay, because this day I'm filming, this day I'm playing, this day I am watching a movie. It's a little bit more scheduled, but it works really well because I still get to do all the things I want to do, and I've made that a priority. Basically, if you're a parent or not, do what you love. If you love playing video games, keep on playing video games because that's what you love. This is what I like. I love movies and TV and really geeky stuff, and that's never going away. So that is basically how becoming a parent has changed the way I game. Like I said before, it hasn't changed drastically because I'm clearly playing tons of games still, which is fantastic, but that's because I've made the effort to make this hobby something I can still do. If you're a parent or you're expecting, comment below. I'm really curious to know your thoughts on how basically being a parent has changed your gaming ways. If it has, if it hasn't, nothing has changed. Basically, I'm just curious. Please click like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Dragon Quest Mom.